Hi, my name is Leah Day, and welcome to this video for the Dancing Butterfly Quilt. Today we're going to learn our first design, stitching out Paisley in an 8-inch square. So let's get started. So here's our quilting guide for this design, and if you're looking for this pattern, you can find it in the Dancing Butterfly Quilt pattern. So to quilt this design, we're basically just going to stitch a teardrop shape, pivot and echo, pivot and echo. Those are the rules for Paisley. Stitch a teardrop, pivot, and echo. To expand it over your quilting space, you're simply going to keep stitching those clusters of shapes, working down. You can see I kind of work down in a row and back up and around, and that's really how it works. That's how it's going to flow no matter where you quilt it. So let's get on the machine and see how this works in free motion. Okay, so I'm going to get started stitching a teardrop shape. And I'm aiming to stitch this on a 1/2 inch scale. That means I'm wanting about 1/2 inch between the lines of quilting. So I can kind of stick my finger in there and I know there's about 1/2 inch of space between those lines. And I want it to be that open so that the quilt finishes nice and soft and cuddly. So now I'm going to pivot and echo. As I swing around, I know my hands are going to speed up, so I speed up the speed of my machine at the same time. That way my stitches stay the same size. I'm going to pivot and echo one more time. Doing a little travel stitching, that's stitching right on top of my stitching along that corner. Sometimes you have to do that if your design is filling in a space and you want to kind of cut off part of it. Like right here, I don't need to stitch all the way back to that starting point. I'm going to end it right here and just start my next shape. So again, to start my next shape, stitch out and around with my teardrop. Return to the starting point and pivot and echo. In this case, I'm going to kind of travel stitch against that side of the Paisley before and swing out and around. That looks great. So that's it for learning Paisley. I really hope that you've enjoyed learning how to quilt this design. Notice how many times in this video that I travel stitched against the edge of the block or the edge of another Paisley shape. Sometimes you have to move through things in kind of a random way. You have to get from one area to another. Remember, you don't have to break thread. You can just travel stitch on top of your stitching and get to where you need to go. So my name is Leah Day, and this has been a video for the Dancing Butterfly Quilt. Find your copy of the Dancing Butterfly Quilt pattern at leahday.com and join us as we learn how to make this beautiful quilt together. Until next time, let's go quilt.